It is getting cold. It is getting cold out here. Smart speakers are becoming more common as time goes on, which is why manufacturers are really turning to their designs to stand out from the crowd. Now this is where I want to introduce to you the Samsung AKG VL3 wireless speaker, which has got some really great features and it's also, as you can see, got this really funky design. The design of the speaker itself is definitely going to appeal to someone with a particular personal taste. Now I personally quite like it actually, but I can see why some people wouldn't. Now it lacks pretty much everything you would expect from a traditional wireless speaker and is an absolute far cry from something like the Sonos Play 1. So the actual size of the speaker is relatively small. It only measures at 21cm by 21cm and has a 7cm depth. On top you've got a Samsung AKG logo as well as touch sensitive controls for volume and play and pause. And then down the right hand side you've got touch sensitive controls again for Bluetooth, wireless and wired connections. Now it does require power, in which it is included in the box. You do get a power adapter and a USB cable in the box. They are hardwired, but we'll go into that in a moment. And it has no built-in battery life, so this really is a keep-at-home speaker. So this actual speaker can be mounted on the wall, which is included in the box as well, and the actual fitting goes inside of this back plate. You just take that off. Now do be aware that if you are wall mounting it, then there is an auxiliary port that's going straight into there, so you lose all functionality of that unless you do take it off the wall. I also think it should go on a wall, to be honest with you, because it just looks, it's a really nice product. It looks really good. So you should just take advantage of that and get it stuck up on a wall somewhere. But also do be wary that you can't be any more than around 2 meters away from a power source, because that's all you get with the USB cable. The USB cable is actually hardwired into the plug that it comes with. You can't take those apart at all. We've tried. I've tugged on the plug as hard as I can. And I couldn't pull it out, and I didn't want to break the cable. But yeah, do be wary that it's very much a hardwired system. So what is pretty interesting about this product is the fact that it's got a wireless controller or wireless remote. You don't usually see that with these kinds of speakers. Now the actual remote itself acts as a volume changer if you do rotate this actual thing. It's got a magnet on the bottom as well, so you can put it onto a metal surface like your fridge, for example. Stick that on the fridge, and then you've got a controller on there. It also is very much touch sensitive as well, so you can skip track using this without having to go back into your phone. But that depends on the music source. It didn't work with Spotify, but it actually worked when I had physical songs saved onto the actual phone, because then it would work with the SmartThings app even better. So as I just mentioned, to get this to work on the wireless network, you need the SmartThings app, and setting up the speaker was as simple as can be. I had to turn on my Bluetooth initially for the phone to see the speaker. I set it up using a Google Pixel 3, turned on my Bluetooth, it found the speaker. From there, you're then prompted to enter your wireless credentials, being the router and password. I hooked it up to the main router in my home and I was on Spotify within minutes. It is probably the easiest wireless speaker that I have set up, and I've tried a few now. You can see them over at Technuevo. I've tried a few now, and this has definitely been the easiest setup process that you could ask for. Now in terms of sound, Samsung AKG are claiming that you can upscale music to 32-bit. Now bear in mind that CD quality is only at 16-bit, with services like music streaming services like Spotify even less than that. Now if you are playing through something like Tidal, then you are getting lossless audio, so there is an advantage for using that service through this speaker. But even still, when I was playing a variety of music tracks through my Spotify playlist, I was left slightly impressed. But when comparing it to something like the Reverb concert speaker that we've just checked out, I'll leave a card in the top corner, the bass was lacking. Now the bass is very much present, it's definitely well controlled, it doesn't really overpower any of the music, but it just lacks that punch. So my go-to track when testing bass frequency quality is a song by MIA, which is called Boys, because it's got some very hard-hitting drums at the beginning. It's a very bassy song overall, but unfortunately with the Samsung AKG VL3, it just sounded absolutely dead. Now when I switched over to something like Beethoven's Ninth, the speakers then began to shine, and that's thanks for its ability to control the treble in a very nice way. And those kind of higher sounds, those higher instruments, violins and cymbal crashes, that kind of thing, all sounded very sharp, very crisp, and the actual soundstage was actually rather quite wide. But once those drums start kicking in, sort of the first 3-4 seconds of that actual song, or that composition, should I call it, you're very much reminded that this speaker is in no way able to keep up with some others like a Sonos Play 1, the Reverb Concert, or even a T-Bo speaker that we reviewed not too long ago. It's just absolutely lacking in that bass department. So unfortunately, I can't show you the tracks that I use to test this speaker because of copyright reasons and that kind of thing on YouTube, but I can play a variety of tracks from our sound library, various different genres. So just take a quick listen. I will say I am using a Blue Yeti microphone. That's all I've got to record, unfortunately. So it's not going to give you the best indication, but if you're wearing headphones, then you should get some kind of idea of the kind of quality that you're going to get from this speaker. So the frequency range sits between 35Hz and 22kHz, and surprisingly there is a pretty chunky woofer inside as well as some tweeters. The whole actual unit is very, very heavy, and that's probably down to the quality of the wood that they've used, but it also is a good indication that the speakers inside are actually using some pretty large magnets. So it's a real shame that this speaker felt really under par. For a £400 unit, you would expect some pretty fancy sound, but here it's just not the case. Now Samsung AKG have definitely gone for style over substance, and maybe for some kind of kitchen speaker for some background noise, it absolutely works. But on a wireless market today, when you can pick up, I don't know, 2 Sonos Play 1s and have them and connect them in stereo sound, or a Play 5 if you've got the space, the Riva Concert that we reviewed, it makes this speaker feel a little redundant. And at £400 there are better options out there that you could go for if you're looking for kind of a more bass centric sound. It might be worth actually checking out something like the VL5, which is a much larger unit than this, certainly something that's going to take up a lot more space. It's a lot wider. We haven't had one here, so I don't know if it's any taller, but certainly width wise, yes, it takes up a lot more space. But that extra space, more speakers, should hopefully promise a much larger sound than what the VL3 can actually offer. Thank you very much for checking out our video review of the Samsung AKG VL3 wireless speaker. If you enjoyed this video, then do click that like button. Please do subscribe to keep up with all of our latest tech and gaming videos. And also let us know in the comments below what you think about the speaker, whether you like the design, whether you would want something more traditional like the Sonos Play 1, Riva Concert, that kind of speaker, whether you like the fact that it comes with a wireless remote control as well that connects up pretty easily with the device. Is actually a pretty nice feature. I do like this. But let us know in the comments what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.